In this session, zero tolerance rent control, you're going to get a lot out of today. You're going to get a lot out of being able to leave here and go and deal with what we call serial offenders. The information I'm giving you today is not about dealing with the odd tenant that generally gets behind. Let's just talk about that for a sec, really. Think about your rent arrears list back at the office. You can see it on the desk there. You've come back for an inspection. There it is sitting there. Someone's printed it off for you. They've entered the receipts. It's all up to date. How many people on there, you tell me, that fit this criteria, that they're very rarely behind, if ever? They've phoned you in advance to tell you that they're going to get behind. They've given you a solid commitment of how much they're going to pay and when, and you certainly believe them, and they're most likely going to do the right thing. How many of those types of people would be on your list right now? None over here? One? Don't know, maybe nothing? Is it fair to say then that you don't have anyone on your rent arrears list then? And maybe you've only got one person on your rent arrears list? Is that the case? No. No? All right, so who is everyone else on that list? The people that are regularly on there. And for today's training, we're going to call them serial offenders. Is that okay? Because the skills and the techniques and the weapons, the things I'm going to arm you with today is all about dealing with your serial offenders. Is that okay? Because that's what we're here for. That's where our real problem is. So, with today's session, we're going to have a look at creating a zero tolerance attitude towards your rent arrears list. We're going to look at or know the 11 power keys or strategies, the zero tolerance rent control. I'm going to arm you with the actual technique to go and do it. And then also equip you with effective late payment scripts, SMS texts, and high impact letters as well. Stuff that will work. Because when it comes to letters, for example, in just about every office I work in, I always seem to find that letter that's been 20, 30 times copies in the file. The same letter's gone to the tenant over and over and over and over again with words of the effect, "Mr. Tenant, we wish to remind you that you're behind in your rent." Letters that don't actually work. And I'm going to teach you today, don't do anything that doesn't work. Only do things that work and stick with it. Does that make sense? Because you've got to recognise what is not working and stop doing it. And only change your tactics to then get the results that you want. Alrighty, now, can anyone tell me what this is? It is something that is at Whyalla. That's pretty obvious, but can someone tell me what it is? Back of a plane? Getting closer? Rudder. It's a rudder. Well done. It's a ship rudder. It is testament to the shipbuilding days in Whyalla. Let me just have a look at that for a sec. Now, I grew up in Whyalla, so it was pretty easy for me to know what it was. But we just look at a ship on the ocean, a big cargo ship, for example, and it's got a big castle on the back here. Here's the rudder there. How important is the rudder over the direction that the ship can go? It's only very small. In fact, that's a bit of an exaggeration. In fact, the rudder is probably a lot smaller than that. I mean, how important is that to dictating the direction of the ship? It's the most important thing? Or even something that small? Anyone here agree, disagree? Agree? All right. Let's change the formula a little bit and let's see if something else can play a factor in the direction of the ship. Let's put a whole heap of shipping containers on it. And in fact, the shipping containers contain BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Lexus cars, quality goods on the ship. Now, in regards to the direction of the ship, do you reckon now that these things might play a factor now to the performance and direction of the ship? Anyone? Or do you think the rudder still rules supreme when it comes to the direction of the ship? The rudder is still the most important thing? Okay. It's not a trick question, all right, guys, but very, very quickly, it doesn't matter. This illustration is all about the importance of our attitude. Your rudder is your attitude. And it doesn't matter how much experience that you have in property management. It doesn't matter what qualifications you've got, how good you think you are, about what experience you've got or whatever. If your attitude's pointing the wrong way, your boat's going to hit rocks. Does that make sense? So it all comes down to your attitude towards zero tolerance if you're going to get results. And we're going to be working on attitude first before I get to show you the how. Because I've got to get you wanting to go and make a change if we're really going to reduce your list. Now, people that have attended this session before have commonly said that within 4 weeks they can reduce their list at least by half. And in some cases, people have called me and said, Darren, I've pressed the rent arrears list button and nothing is coming off. We have 0 arrears today. Not that that will happen all the time, but you have to develop a zero tolerance attitude if you're going to get zero tolerance results. Because in a lot of cases, you'll realise today that having a long list of rent arrears in a lot of cases is our fault. And you'll learn that. And learn that in a lot of cases it is our fault because we simply let them be at those levels. But if we don't let them be at those levels, then we can have a much shorter list. Does that make sense? All right, let's move on.